Yeah, hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss about the data addressing capabilities. In the previous video lecture, we have discussed about the special addressing modes of the digital signal processor. Nothing but immediate addressing mode, direct addressing mode, uh, register addressing mode, okay, indirect addressing mode. All these we have discussed in the previous video lecture. Today we are going to discuss about some more addressing modes which are called as special addressing modes. In order to implement real-time signal processing, special addressing modes are provided in digital signal processor. Those are called as special addressing modes. Coming to the circular addressing mode, here there is a circular buffer which allows one to handle a continuous stream of incoming data samples. All the incoming data samples will be handled by this buffer, and once all the samples is being filled up in the buffer sequentially, once it reaches to the end of the buffer, the samples are wrapped around and added to the beginning again. It will the samples all get wrapped around and again it added to the beginning again. This is what the circular addressing mode. This is generally useful to implement a real-time signal, digital signal processing where the input stream is effectively continuous. If the input stream is continuous, generally in which applications will be using a circular addressing mode is if the input stream is effectively continuous. And in order to implement a real-time digital signal processing, we will be going with circular addressing mode. Coming to bit reversed addressing mode, this is a special addressing mode used to use it for a implementation of radix to fast Fourier transform. Here you can observe that in the slide itself it is clearly mentioned it is used for implementing radix to fast Fourier transform algorithms where either the input or output is in bit reversed order. I'll show you with the examples how we are going to reverse the order of the bits. Generally we do write a binary number. For example, if you write for a decimal number as 2, if we convert that into a binary 010, that will be reversed. That we call it as a output indexing 010. Again, if we reverse that, we'll be getting 010. So the output index for that input index is 2 itself. If I take 1, the binary representation of 1 is 001. If we reverse that, it will be 100. Nothing but 001 is 1, that is input index, and output index is 4. This is what the general reversing of the bits is being done over here. So this is an address generation unit which is provided with the capability of providing bit reversed indices. Coming to the in detail explanation of this circular addressing mode. In circular addressing mode, there is a requirement of a 3 special hardware requirement is there. One is pointer resistor, and another is start address register and end address register. Why there is a need of these three is that the pointer register is used to keep track of current address. It is used to keep track of current address, and we can increment the address or decrement the address. That we can do, that sort of operations can be done on this pointer register. It is just used to keep the track of current address. Coming to SAR, what is SAR? Start address register. It will hold the start address of the buffer. Coming to end address register, it will hold the end address of the buffer. This is what the general hardware required in order to implement the circular addressing. Coming to this, these are the special addressing modes available in circular addressing. Whenever in these 4 cases, the first one is SAR is less than AR, nothing but the starting address of the buffer. If it is less than the ending address of that buffer, then the pointer register will get updated, and that will be greater than the end address register value. Coming to the second case, if the start address register again less than that of end address register, and updated pointer register should be less than starting address of the register. Nothing but the pointer register should be in between. For these cases, like it should be in between EAR and SAR. SAR and EAR, because SAR will be a maximum value. SAR, PNTR, EAR. That is the first 2 cases. For the first 2 cases, if you wanted to calculate the size of the buffer, This is the formula. You can use it to calculate the size of the buffer. Nothing but end address register minus starting address register plus 1. Okay, and this you can apply for this. And coming to the next two cases, the buffer size here is SAR is greater than EAR. If starting address of the register is greater than ending address of the register, the updated pointer register should be greater than starting address of the register. If starting address of the register is again greater than ending address of the register, then updated pointer register will be less than ending address of the register. And in order to calculate the buffer size for these last two cases, we'll be going with the formula called SAR minus EAR plus 1. Starting address register minus ending address register plus 1. Coming to different cases of circular addressing, nothing but if you are going to calculate the if you are going to see this case one, like SAR is less than EAR, so updated PNTR should be greater than EAR. Okay, that is what is been shown in the first figure. The updated new PNTR, updated PNTR. I'm sorry. Here updated PNTR. There is new PNTR. Updated PNTR should be greater than that of EAR, and the upper value and the lower value should be equal. That we are going to see in the coming example. The same is the case with the case 2. Just observe these figures, you come to know about it. This is the other, just these are the figure representations of these 4 cases. All these 4 cases are represented in this way. Here coming to the pointer updating algorithm, the pointer is getting updated, right? How it is getting updated? The updated PNTR is nothing but it is plus or minus increment. Either it is a increment or a decrement. We have that value is updated in the pointer register. If starting address of the register is less than the ending address of the register, and if updated PNTR, nothing but pointer register, is greater than ending address register, then new pointer value will be updated PNTR minus buffer size. And if updated PNTR is less than starting address of the register, then new PNTR is nothing but updated PNTR plus buffer size. Please keep these things in your mind. These are the address values generally stored in that particular registers. If you are given up with any problem, like given a buffer size and given up with a new PNTR value, and if you are asked to calculate the updated PNTR value or any other values, you could be able to solve by using these things. If starting address of the register is greater than ending address of the register, and if it is updated and if updated PNTR is greater than starting address of the register, then new PNTR is nothing but updated pointer register minus buffer size. So all these things are the thing. If these are not the two cases being followed, in the other else statement, new pointer will be same as the updated pointer. This is what the general thing needs to be observed. And coming to this problem, this is a question. Please keep in your mind and make a note of it so that you can solve on yourself by resuming this window, resuming this video. Once after completed your solution, you can check the solution here itself. In a DSP has a circular buffer with a start and end addresses. It is been given. The start address and end address of the circular buffer is been provided. What would be the new values of the address pointer of the buffer if the course of address computation it gets updated to this value? Okay, if the what would be the new values of address pointer, okay, of the buffer in the course of address computation, it gets updated to this. Coming to this, we can calculate in this way. First we need to calculate the buffer length. So they have asked us to calculate new address pointer. In the question itself, what would be the new values of address pointer? New address pointer, what is the general way of representing it? Updated pointer minus buffer size. That is what we have seen just now. Updated pointer minus buffer size. This is what the general formula. So here we are implementing the same. Updated pointer is 0 to 12. Here it gets updated to 0 to 12h. That address minus buffer length. What is the buffer length? Buffer length we have calculated it as EAR minus SAR plus 1. Okay, as since the end address register value is greater than that of starting address register, we have followed this formula. As EAR minus SAR plus 1, we'll be getting buffer length that is getting subtracted from this updated pointer, and you will be getting the value, a new address pointer value. In the same way, you will be applying for 01 FCH value address also, which is there in the updated pointer, that is getting added with the buffer length, and you will be getting the output. Let us look at the same problem with different values. Nothing but if starting address of the register is 0 to 10H and ending address of the register is 0 to 01H, what is the problem statement is the here SAR is greater than that of EAR. That's why we are implementing this formula for buffer length. And now the new address pointer formulas will be remaining same, but what is the important point you need to observe here is note that the values in both the problems is same, because in previous problem also, if you note down, the answers is 0 to 02H and 0 to 0CH. In the same way, here also the answers will be 0 to 02H, 0 to 0CH. Note values in both problems is same. This shows that in circular buffer, the address pointer wraps around to point to address inside buffer, irrespective of whether start address is higher or end address is higher. The address pointer wraps around to the point to address inside buffer without any objections that whether the starting address is higher or ending address is higher. Even any of it is higher, the solution remains same, that the value in new address pointer will be remain same. Coming to data addressing capabilities, there is another addressing mode called special addressing mode called bit reverse addressing. As I said, bit reverse addressing is very much needed in FFT algorithm implementation. Coming to discrete invariant discrete in time Fourier transform, fast Fourier transform, DIT FFT. Naturally ordered data needs to be accessed according to indices of 8-point FFT. Nothing much. What is a naturally ordered? What is the meaning of naturally ordered data? Here, if you observe this input index, this is naturally ordered, right? From 0 to 7, it is naturally ordered 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And its binary representation is being given here. Coming to output index, it needs to be accessed according to the indices of 8-point FFT. Nothing but x of 0 will be accessing x of 0 itself. But it gets x of 1 needs to be gets accessed with the x of x suffix 4. Nothing but the output in this is 4. Why? Because you just reverse this binary number 001. If you reverse bit reverse addressing, right, you will be reversing the bits. Nothing but 001 will be reversed and you will be getting it as 100. That is nothing but a 4. The binary number which is used to represent the 4 is 100. If you reverse this 010, you will be getting 010. That is same as 2 and 2. So input index is same and output index is same for 0 and 2. Coming to 011, if you reverse that, it will become 6. 3 will become 6. 100 will become 001. So 4 to 1, 5 to 5, 6 to 3, 7 to 7. This is what the general accessing of the data which is being observed in bit reversed addressing mode. Coming to 8-bit. If you go to 16-bit, it is a 4-bit data. Same process, it will be continued. For that, generally, there is an general representation here. If you wanted to calculate the current index, the formula is the previous index should be get added up with the buffer length, half of the FFT size. Nothing but if you just use, for example, there is a 16-bit, 16-point FFT. If there is 16-point FFT, half of it is 8. If you take the previous index as 0, 0 plus 8 will be an 8. So the value which is stored in current index is 8. If we compute that for an 8-point FFT, let us have a look at it here. This is what the general representation. If index in binary, nothing but the BCD value for it is 0. BCD value, this is the normal natural indexing. And coming to the right side, we have an reverse bit addressing indexes. This is input index and that is output index, and that is what we have seen just now. By using that representation, by using that formula of current address is equal to previous address plus half of the FFT size, that we are going to implement here, and you will be getting the data in this way. This is what is been observed in bit reverse addressing mode, and this is generally used in implementation of fast Fourier transform. Thank you for listening to this session. I think it is clear to you what is the functionality of addressing modes, and we'll look at some more topics in the next coming sessions. Thank you.